Hello, I'm Dr. Kendra Flores-Carter, and I'm here because I want you to thrive and find your inner peace during this time. I know that it's a difficult time that we're all going through, so I am here to present to you the overview of thriving in uncertain times, and this is definitely going to be a course that will take you through just a journey of your overall health and well-being. And so I'm just here, we'll be introducing like the different areas, but you will have several instructors that are going to go through each of those areas that I cover more in depth so that you're able to gain some more understanding of all of the different aspects that impact your overall well-being during this time. So, as you all know, we are experiencing a pandemic, right? So this presentation will definitely provide you with an introduction to the different areas of our lives that will be most impacted by the pandemic. You will be guided by several different instructors, like I mentioned, to help you develop the capacity to cope during this very uncertain time. The COVID pandemic, very significant during this time, and it's affecting everyone worldwide. So we're all experiencing this, and we really are all in this together and hoping that we all get through it. So what is a pandemic? A pandemic is a global outbreak of a disease. Pandemics happen when a new virus emerges to infect people and can spread throughout the world without being contained, right? Because there's little immunity or pre-existing immunity against the new virus, it spreads how it's spreading right now. The virus that caused COVID-19 is infecting people and spreading easily from person to person. Cases have been detected in most countries worldwide, and community spread is being detected in a growing number of countries. On March 11, 2020, the COVID-19 outbreak was characterized as a pandemic by the World Health Organization. So it's definitely a big deal, and it's definitely why we are doing this, because we really want to be able to help in whatever way we can help. So moving into kind of like our overall health, really the first thing that we often think about is our mental wellness. How are we doing during this time? What's going on with our mental health or mental wellness? How can we cope? What we do know is that everybody copes differently, right? We all cope differently. Some of us will worry excessively. We will worry. We will just worry. It's just natural for us to just worry about what is going on, right? But we need to also understand it's an uncontrollable circumstance, right? So worrying is really gonna probably eventually could push us over the edge, right? Everything we know now is completely different. It's not the same. Everything we're used to is different, right? We're used to getting up every day and going to work. You guys are used to teaching your classes. I'm used to teaching my classes. I'm a professor. I teach in higher education. And so we're missing our students. We're worrying about our students. We might have had those students that probably were a little bit problematic, and we're wondering how they're doing right now, right? Some of us can't see our loved ones because we can't travel, right? We're stuck in a place where we can't go back and forth. Like, I'm in California and I haven't seen my mom in over a month because I can't travel to see her. So we talk every day, but it's not the same as to like seeing each other, right? So we can't see our loved ones. We can't socialize. If you're somebody that loves to go out with your friends and hang out, you can't do that right now. So it's changing the way that we normally would operate in the way that we normally do things, that keep us sane, right? That keeps us balanced, right? So some people might have significant anxiety, like what is going on? When is this going to be over? Um, Having to deal with our children too, like worrying about them as well, right? Your kids becoming anxious, your spouse becoming anxious, right? Um, some of the kids, like my children, oh, they're bored, right? And you don't know how to help them to cope with that, right? So it's a lot of things going on, a lot of different types of um, emotions, and that's affecting really our mental health and how we would normally function, right? And on the end of the spectrum, there's sadness, and then there's also um, depression. We're depressed, right? We're depressed because we can't go out and do things, and so those are all types of feelings that come up during a time like this, right? And the thing about it is, it's okay to have those feelings, but when they become significantly overwhelming and it starts to affect our daily way of coping, our daily lives, our daily way of living, it starts to affect how we do our job, then it's serious, right? So what we really want for you guys is to understand the importance of having confidence during this time, self-efficacy. What happens is that a lot of the times we tend to maybe doubt ourselves and feel like during times like these we don't have any control over what's happening. So we try to compensate, maybe thinking that we cannot function to the best of our ability, right? We doubt our leadership abilities without having our supervisors around to kind of guide us through. And I know for many of us, that's what's going on. Our self-efficacy is a little bit low, and we need to build that back up. And so I think that what we're trying to do is to really kind of help you guys to balance that out and feel confident that you can and will do what you can do moving forward, even though it's a pandemic, right? You will be able to build that classroom. You will be able to um, take care of yourself and feel a little bit more confident and be able to get back into the swing of things and transition to the online platform and the distance learning and believing in yourself, even though it's challenging times, believing in your potential as a leader and being able to independently walk through this, right? Self-determination, having that independence, that autonomy, knowing that we can do things and not having someone over us telling us everything to do, step one, step two, step three, step four, but knowing that, hey, I can do this and being determined to do it and getting it done. All right. So it's believing in yourself, having that confidence, and also knowing that independently you can do this as well. Right. You can do it even though it's going to be different. I know many of us are really scared. How do we transition to online? How do we figure that out? Right. We're used to being online teaching. We're used to being in a classroom teaching. We're not used to teaching virtually through a computer, right? So that's hard, but you can do it. And I think that it's important for us to understand, yes, it's scary. Yes, it's something new, but having that independence does not mean that you cannot do it, right? You don't need somebody constantly there to guide you through the process. You can do it, right? And then self-regulation, really learning to control all of those negative thoughts that's coming our way, right? The negative thoughts that, oh my goodness, if I don't do this right, I'm not going to have a job. I'm going to probably get fired, or, doubting yourself that you cannot do it. I'm not a technical person. I don't understand how to use a computer very well, how to make a PowerPoint, how to record a video. Like little simple things like that could really sometimes change the way that we think, and it can get out of control if we don't self-regulate and try to not worry too much about all of those things, and really coming back to saying we can do it, and having that confidence, even though you don't have experience in doing it. So being willing to say, I can do this. I am willing to learn. I'm open to learn. I'm willing to have you guide me through the process will be very, very helpful. So being open and really following all these three skills: to have confidence, to have independence, and to control your negative thoughts. Moving into emotional wellness. Honestly, our emotions are our thoughts, our feelings, and the behaviors that come after that. Right now, many of us are feeling very scared. We're feeling lonely. We're feeling sad and depressed. Some of us are even probably exhibiting or engaging in unusual behaviors, like maybe overeating, eating more than we would normally eat, because that's a way to help us feel calm, even though it's probably putting on the pungs instead of taking the weight off. Some of us are probably sleeping more or sleeping less, right? So the behaviors are changing because we're worried, and because our mental health isn't as well during this time, right? The pandemic kind of came and overturned and upset everything that we had going on, and so now we're really trying to figure out how we're going to get back to that life balance that we may have had before all of this came. For some of us, we may have been experiencing troubled times before the pandemic. And so now that the pandemic is here, it kind of exacerbated all of those things that we were already feeling. So it kind of made it a lot more worse, right, for many of us. So we are having very, very distorted thoughts as well. Some people are thinking, man, I'm going to get sick. And then you're thinking, what if my kids get sick, right? What if my husband gets sick? What if my loved one gets sick? So we're all thinking about that right now. And it's really and truly affecting our emotional health, right? So it's so important for us to make sure that we are remaining calm and trying to remain grounded. Giving ourselves affirmations, right? Here's an example. I am with my family. We're in our home. I'm practicing social distancing and following the COVID guidelines. So I'll be okay, right? I'll be okay. I'll be okay because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing to be safe, right? To be safe and be at home, right? I have this little quote here that said, "The peace I give is a gift the world cannot give, so do not be troubled or afraid." The peace I give is a gift the world cannot give, so do not be troubled or afraid, right? Own your own thoughts. Own your own feelings. And make sure that you try your best to not go the negative route, because you're already doing everything that you're supposed to be doing to stay safe, right? To follow the rules and to make sure that you keep your family safe, right? And so I think overstressing it and over worrying about it can only be negative for us instead of positive. All right. And then moving into our physical wellness. right? Oh, some of us are probably in the gym. We were in the gym all the time, taking care of ourselves, making sure we're physically well, right? And then some of us are like, well, now is the time that we could probably relax, right? We don't have to worry, and you're eating whatever. Physical wellness is still very important, even though we're at home. So it's still vital that we take care of ourselves physically. It's very vital that we really and truly maintain a healthy lifestyle, right? We have to physically thrive. It's important to physically thrive during this time, right? Your body is your temple. Physical wellness is the ability to maintain a healthy quality of life that allows us to get most out of our daily activities without undue fatigue or physical stress. So it's really taking care of ourselves, treating our body like a temple and not treating it like a trash can where we're just putting anything in it. If you have physical health and you feel good, your mind feel good, your emotions feel good. So it's definitely important to understand that we have to take care of our bodies, right? We have to maintain that. Then we move into financial wellness. And please understand that I am only briefly touching on this, on the Thriving in Uncertain Times course. Um, your instructors are going to come in and they are going to break down each of these sections for you in a more way that you can kind of get more understanding of each of them, right? So I'm just brushing I'm just brushing it. Like I'm not really going in depth, but you're going to get more in depth from all of your other instructors that's going to come together to teach you about each of these aspects. Okay. So moving into financial wellness. Oh, of course, right now there's probably money problems that we're all having, right? The bills are piling up if on you, especially if you're in a household where maybe someone lost income, like maybe one person is working now instead of two of you, and so there's a loss of income in the household. That can definitely be a significant stress. Not being able to pay your bills on time, especially if you were the type of person that always was on time, you make sure you pay everything and you're caught up. Now is a time where it's harder to do that because of the COVID virus. So we have to make sure that we're able to balance. And it can definitely be difficult with creditors calling us and annoying us and harassing us trying to get their money. So it's definitely a tough time. And financial wellness is definitely going to be a situation that's going to definitely be tough for us during this time. And I think that it'll be very, very important that as you learn more about how to take care of your finances, that you're able to figure out ways to budget, ways to make sure that you have an extra savings for times like these. Um, and like I said, you'll have an instructor who's definitely going to take you through a lot more on financial wellness and how to build it, because our lives are like in pieces and we have so many different things that tie it all in together, and the financial piece is such a big piece. What is financial wellness? Financial wellness involves the process of learning how to successfully manage financial expenses. We know that money plays a critical role in our lives, and not having enough of it can definitely impact our overall well being and our health. It can also impact our work performance. If we are trying to teach a class and in the back of our minds we're worrying about paying a bill, it's hard for us to really and truly engage in the classroom. So it's so important to understand that this is also a big piece of our health and how we feel mentally. And it's important to also take care of that, right? And I know during a pandemic it's so hard and it's an added pressure, especially if, like I mentioned, you've lost some income, one person is no longer working, um, and the bills are adding up, right? And you're worrying about that. So that's definitely another way that could affect us. And we're definitely going to get into some ways that you guys can learn how to budget, learn how to have better financial literacy, and also be able to have maybe some kind of financial freedom in the future. So we'll get into how you can do that later on. You'll have someone who will talk to you more about it. And spiritual wellness. My goodness, like our spirituality is so important, right? It's one of the ways that we are able to cope in these times. Going to our spiritual wellness and feeling connected to something is so important, right? What is spiritual wellness? Spiritual wellness is being connected to something greater than yourself, right? Something that you feel can help you in these times, help you overcome a lot of the things that you're facing, right? Um, it's also attached to our values, our principles, our morals, our beliefs, all of those things that really are so meaningful to us, meaningful to us, and we take that into how we work on a daily basis. It influences um, our work, our professional lives. It influences our home life, right? So our spirituality really guides us, and it really guides our actions, guides how we behave in times like this. So it's so important to really and truly use your spirituality to take control of your destiny during these times, understanding that it is some uncertain times, but there is still hope at the end of the tunnel. And using our spiritual strength or spiritual guidance to center ourselves will definitely help us to be able to move forward. Uh, I found this picture and I thought it was so ideal because it's just a woman just, and you see the coronavirus looking at her, and she's just really and truly being centered and just finding that inner peace in a way that, yes, I am surrounded by this pandemic right now, but I'm not going to let this pandemic take over my life and take over my well-being, right? I am going to be aware and live in the present moment so that I am able to overcome and combat whatever this is that's going on, right? And really being centered and having that inner peace right now is so important. And I know it's hard. I know it's very hard to do. And you're probably saying, well, she's just talking like she doesn't have problems. Trust me, I have my very own problems too. But I've learned that I cannot worry about the things that I cannot control. And I have to really and truly worry about the things that I have control of, which is my home, the way that I do my job, the way that I take care of my children, right? Those are the things that I have control of right now. I can't control the coronavirus. I can't. So I'm not going to sit and worry, and then have it really kind of destroy everything that I've worked so hard for, right? So think of it that way, right? And if you need something to look at, if you're trying to meditate, this is definitely a very good picture, right? To kind of give you some inner peace, okay? And then spirituality is different, right? We all have different. It's different for everyone. Some people are really strong in their faith and they have that religion, and some people have the spiritual piece And so there's two different definitions, as you can see here. Spirituality, where do I find meaning? How do I connect? How should I live? Whereas religion, you have a particular practice, right? If you're a Catholic, you practice Catholicism. If you're Christian, Christianity, right? And you have different rituals that's related to that, right? And that's what you're following right now to guide you through this time, right? There's no right or wrong with that, right? So it is whatever it is that makes you feel your best, right? Right. So as you can see, spirituality and religion, they can definitely intertwine, or they can't, or they don't have to at all. So it's definitely different for everyone, and it's what your comfort level is how you feel that you reflect in times of uncertainty. What your ethical standards are for yourself, your values, that's completely what you decide for your own self, right? So it's either or for you. You don't have to be one or the other. It's whatever you feel guides you and makes you who you are, right? So now that we know all of this, how do we move forward, right? How do we move forward and thrive in the times of uncertainty? How can we do that? Well, here's the thing. Here's what I'm holding on to. I know that my students really need me. Our students need us right now, right? For many of them, we are their inspiration and solace in this very, very chaotic time, right? We are that for them. For some students, they look forward to being with us Monday through Friday, right? And having that interaction. So all of a sudden, with Corona, that was cut short. So imagine how they're probably feeling, right? They're probably feeling really sad and upset that all of this is going on, and they cannot be with their favorite teacher in the whole wide world, right? The teacher that sits with them and listens to them and rub their little head and tell them everything is going to be okay. Right now, there's a lot of little kids that are probably at home being maybe abused, and it's really sad, right? And you're probably thinking about your kids that you know are in situations that are unhealthy at home, and that probably have you worrying about your well-being, right? You're probably worrying about other kids and not really worrying about your own kids, right? Because you know your kids are fine. And as teachers, as caring, being in a caring profession, we have that burden sometimes, or we take the burden on of other people and the people around us, right? And so missing that and thinking about that, right? But what we need to understand is, even though all of that is going on, if we're constantly not controlling those thoughts and we're really thinking about everything else rather than centering and balancing our own lives and our own well-being, what we're really doing is hampering ourselves in so many ways. And if there's one thing that we cannot do, if we're not well physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, and spiritually, we cannot put our best foot forward to help other people. And I think a lot of the times we forget that. And so it's so important that we take care of ourselves first. And as teachers, we have to, because we have a huge responsibility to teach the next generation of leaders, right? We are teaching these little kids to become us in the future. And we want to make sure that we prepare them well so that they're able to carry on the legacy that we are today, okay? So it's definitely important for us to take care of ourselves. right? And please don't forget that we are all in this together, and we will get through COVID-19 and live to talk about it in years to come. All right? So please, 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 I hope that you kind of have enjoyed this beginning overview of what's to come. And I hope that you're looking forward to participating in all of the courses that we have lined up for you, along with all of the different modules, because it's definitely going to be so helpful for you. I want to say thanks, and you can find me at Dr. Flores-Carter on Instagram, or if you have any questions, you can definitely email me at kflores-carter@calbaptist.edu. A special thanks to the Belize Ministry of Education for this partnership and allowing myself to team up and collaborate to provide some work around, and some trainings then around these topics, okay? And thank you to the instructors who will be creating all of the content that you guys are going to be engaging in. So I encourage you to watch these modules and participate, and we will get through this together, okay? Thank you.